Oh, I should turn off the music I have in the background. Sorry, my delay on my end. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Argonauts Awoken. I am Mr. DMD, your DM here to lead you and our young recruits through our highly modified version of the 5th edition rule set for Dungeons & Dragons. Tonight, our recruits, we will be visited by a character that we have not met already, and we will try to, we're going to meet them very shortly, I'm sorry. And we're going to try and put the debrief and the events of Halloween behind us. We're going to meet Lucius in just a little while. We'll get to know him. But first, we're going to start with something brand new that we haven't done on the stream that our players are not at all aware of what's about to happen. So we have decided that it's probably helpful for our viewers to get a little bit more in depth of a recap of what happened in the episode before than what I'm providing. So we're going to let them provide it, and it's going to be decided by a roll of the die. So the way this works is the lowest person who rolls their die number, and it's just a plain D20, people. Lowest roll gets to share with us. Now, the win here is that if you do a really good job, tonight decided by me, but in the future will be decided by chat. We'll let them get involved a little. You will get inspiration. If you already have inspiration, it is the only way in any of my games. This is a house rule. So if you're a rules lawyer in the chat, I'm sorry, this is my rule. It is the only way to carry 2 inspirations at one time. But this cannot carry over into another session. So I believe at this point, Zamora and Alaya both still have inspiration. You can carry 1 more. Oh, and CV does too. Awesome. So go ahead and give us a roll, people. If you don't have your dice, I saw someone in our private chat said they're missing their dice. You can pull up a dice roller on, literally go into Google, type roll a D20, and it will roll a D20 for you. Stevie's not sharing tonight. Stevie rolled a nat 20. Luna got an 18. Zamora got an 18. Alaya got a 10. Alaya looks like our lowest so far. It looks like I think it's Alaya. Alaya, so you've got a shot here to earn a inspiration. Tell us, what happened last week?
Last week? Well, like in the story or, okay. Last week, we all went in to get interrogated.
From your perspective, I'll buy that.
Yeah, we all went in to get interrogated. We tried to we made some of the teachers mad. Definitely. We told them everything, and we had a couple flashbacks, including one in our dreams that wasn't really a flashback, but like a premonition sort of. With a dark hooded figure who had a little pet brainlet. And he was clearly up to no good. He did the villain thing like, yes, my boy is doing good. He's getting them. And you have something?
No, I'm going to let you wrap up, though. Wrap it up.
Most of the time was spent trying to convince the teachers that we don't want to be punished for this. Like, we don't deserve to be punished. Ferg was on our side. Very on our side. And the other teachers were mostly just kind of like, we kind of have to punish you because you technically broke our rules. And we all got punished in different ways last time. Or at least most of us got punished in different ways. A couple of us said the same thing.
All right. I think that's a great way to segue. First of all, just solely for the brainlet comment, you're going to get your inspiration. That was so good. Pretty much you're going to quickly learn that if you can make me laugh during the recap or you do it really, really fun, you're going to get your inspiration. I very rarely will hold it back. But it's a good little reward for having to do that. So thank you, Alaya. That's a great segue into talking about the consequences of what happened. You had one collective consequence as a group, and who remembers what that is? Moon.
Extra training on Saturdays.
Yes, you now have extra Saturday training that will rotate amongst your teachers. And then many of you had individualized consequences. So share with us, what was your individual consequences?
I remember me and I think Zamora both have to go train with, I don't remember who it was, but we have to train with someone to make better decisions, basically.
Yes, you're training with Raketti on how to make more logical and better decisions. And this was, again, something Jade decided as your guild leader. Perfect, thank you. And I'm sure Zamora is thankful that you were able to cover that. Who else?
I believe I have to take classes with Rad and Reaper to learn how to fight the call to the darkness.
Exactly. Very good. All right. And anyone else?
I think Moon and I forgot.
You two are going to be working with groundskeeper Master Rockbreaker to give back to the community on campus.
Oh, yes.
We're going to see some of that.
Moon is very excited.
You're going to see some of that, not this week, but coming up, I promise. And Luke, what was your extra consequence?
I don't have extra consequences because Farag is a homie.
Essentially, your extra consequence was he gave you a high five, practically. It was just like a metaphor. No consequence for you. Perfect. Cool. Thank you all for that. That was very entertaining for me. So let's see. Last we left you, you were actually leaving the debrief. Tonight, we're going to skip around a little in time for the rest of this day that you are still in and the coming week. But first, what are you doing this afternoon from when you leave the debrief, which is about lunchtime, until dinner time? So just think about that for a second. I'm not going to go through each of you individually, but you do have it's a good 6 hours to cover between now, and it is on your own, completely undirected time. Who's got an idea?
Do I have access to the kitchens? Like to cook in them?
Roll me a persuasion check. You walk up to the kitchen and try to go in there and cook. Let's see what happens. We actually haven't met the kitchen cook yet. So we'll get to do that. We'll see how this goes.
Oh, I got a 6.
So you walk up, and the kitchen cook, he is a, I'm sorry, I totally forgot the name of this race. I just went in and updated all of the D&D races to our own terms, and I totally forgot the term. Oh, he's a trader gnome. So he's a small gnome. He's got a little beefier for a gnome, and he's kind of in the kitchen. He's standing on a stool, chopping up at some stuff, getting dinner ready. And you walk in and you try to do what?
I want to bake.
He takes one look at you, points his knife at you, and says, "Get out of my kitchen."
No.
And he's still pointing his knife at you. He's like, "Why are you in here? Students aren't allowed in the kitchen."
I want to bake.
He's confused by you, but you didn't roll a very good persuasion. If you want to bake, you can go peel those potatoes. And he points to a giant pile of potatoes.
Gives me something to do, I guess. I go over and start peeling them.
Cool. Roll a, let's see, food handling isn't a stat.
Animal handling.
Roll a dexterity check to see how well you do peeling these potatoes.
Not good at dexterity. What is it? I got a 10.
It's average. You don't do bad. You get through the entire stack of potatoes at about 4 o'clock. And as you finish, he's still working on finishing dinner. He's cooking for a lot of people. And you notice he's started to bake, put things together to bake something. If you would like to help him, you can roll another persuasion check with advantage because he's now a little bit more impressed with the fact that you just peeled potatoes for like 3 hours.
Yeah, he likes me now. I'm his favorite student. I didn't use my modifier last time, so I'm gonna take it. Oh, it's just 0. Never mind. 17.
Yeah, no, he's like, come on here and help me bake these brownies. And you spend the rest of the afternoon with him baking brownies and cooking in the kitchen. It's a very calming afternoon compared to the morning you have and super wholesome. I absolutely love it.
Missing. I miss baking.
I love it. Who else knows what they want to do with their afternoon?
I'm going to go to the library and see if I can find some kind of book on what Rad called the darkness.
This is super fun because we haven't visited the library before. So go to the library. To go to the library, you actually have to get into the elevator and you go all the way to the top floor. And remember, this was once a ski lodge, a resort location. When you get to the top floor, the library is gorgeous. It actually was. It was before it was a library. It's kind of like one of those round restaurants with the giant solid walls that could see out and had a beautiful view of the mountain range. Because we're in Tahoe and everybody wants a view. And so what they did was, rather than board that up, they just kind of put the racks in, so there's a lot of natural light. It's a very kind of welcoming open space, and you go in and there's Ricchetti sitting at his desk, or their desk at the front of the room, grading some papers. But it's the library, so you're free to kind of come and go as you please. Are you going to ask for help to find a book, or are you just going to start poking around?
I think I'm just going to start poking around. I don't really want Ricchetti to know what I'm looking for.
So at the risk of being super cliche, there is a section of books that are off limits to first-year students. And pretty much that there's definitely going to be something in that section about what you want to read. But there's also like lesser guarded books that would cover elements of the darkness in the space. So roll me... Let's see. Are you looking for a book about the magical elements of the darkness, or like the historical elements, like the history of it, or how to interact with it magically?
Probably magically.
Okay, roll an Arcana check, which is a weird type of Arcana check, but you're in the magic section. So
I rolled another nat 20.
So you not only do you find one book, but you find a series of books that chronicles a specific wizard's experiences trying to test the darkness. It's like a 3-book volume. It's kind of buried in a corner, and it probably should be in the locked section, but it kind of borders the line here. What are you going to do? You found this like trilogy of books.
I suppose I technically have to check it out, so I'm going to do that.
If you didn't want to check it out, you could like reference library it and find like there's a classroom in the library. You could sit at one of the tables and read there.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Perfect. How much time do you want to spend reading this?
Maybe like an hour or two, just kind of get what I need out of it, but not necessarily reading it word for word.
Are you looking for anything specific as you're kind of scanning through this book?
I want to look and see if I can find anything about like connections to it and how to get rid of them.
All right. Go ahead and roll me one more Arcana check.
Hold on, I'm doing math in my brain. 24. I'm rolling really well for no reason.
Bored you are. So the way this book is written should be beyond you. It's written at a very high mage level. It was written by an expert, and you should not be able to understand it. But as you're kind of sifting through it, trying to make, apples out of oranges in your understanding, you come across one section that is very clear, because it's written not from this mage's perspective, but from the test subject's perspective. And they actually wrote it. And it's all about this test that he ran where this person had a magical connection to the darkness that you can't quite understand the origin of that connection, but it's clear that the connection was to the darkness. And a series of tests that the wizard ran to sever that connection, that all had varying degrees of difficulty. That in the end, while the wizard was working, the connection to the darkness had been lessened. But you get the idea that this happened over a long amount of time and required a lot of like practice and desire to lessen it. That if the subject had not wanted to lessen this or sever this connection, would not have been possible. Cool. What are you going to do with the rest of your afternoon?
think I'm just gonna go back to my room, listen to some music, and hang out on the internet for a bit, just kind of process my feelings about everything.
Cool. All right. Who else has got their idea what they're going to do with their afternoon?
For the first 2 hours, I take a nap.
The more
the night before, I didn't get to sleep well because of the nightmare, so I was kind of tired.
I am very aware of this. You do sleep a lot.
I'm
let's
always
see.
getting punched in class, in like armor class, and I'm just tired.
I'm going to ask you a question because we haven't actually talked much about the kind of sleeping arrangements for your guild. But the Guild of the Medusa has kind of a very free reign on how they, where they lay their head down, right, where they sleep. Some Medusa members, because they're so like, ugh, I don't need people, I just want to be a loner, will actually like take a tent out in the forest and sleep in the forest. Some Medusa members, because they're very connected to the theater, like they're known in good weather to just like sleep in a sleeping bag in the theater. There is a floor devoted to the Medusas in the cabin that, you know, I'd say about maybe half of the general Medusa population sleeps in. A good amount of the first years sleep there. Where do you rest?
Oh, I definitely sleep in the cabin. It's doing too much sleeping elsewhere. That's just, there's no point when there's already a bed.
Cool. So you definitely have a room, and you go in, you take a 2-hour nap, 3-hour nap. How long is this nap?
2 hours, and then I wake up because I'm hungry.
You wake up and you're hungry. Well, dinner's not for a while, and you can't just walk into the kitchen and get a snack. I mean, you could try. Luna's in there peeling potatoes still.
I kind of realize that I can't go in the kitchen, and I don't want to like do anything right now because I don't want to get any more staff mad at me. So I spot the little blonde girls, like rich preppy blonde girls, and I'm like, I want to cause some trouble right now. So I go over to them and see what I could snag.
So they are, let's see, they're all sitting on the deck outside of the guild hall. Most of them are all still blonde human girls. Iris was one of them. She isn't quite as much with that group. She's kind of sitting with them, but she looks like she's kind of off to the side of them. One of them, however, is now a dragonborn, green, bright green dragon girl. And still trying to, you can see, figure out how to dress this dragon body, because it doesn't dress the same way as a human body, but still with the same kind of attitude that she had before. And you approach them.
I look straight at the dragon. I'm like, ew, what happened to you? That's gross.
You say this, and she looks at you, and for a second, it looks like she's going to breathe whatever her dragon breath is on you. And instead, she takes a breath and runs away in anger.
I feel
not crying. Bad. She's stomping off, but she is.
Oh, never mind. I don't. I thought she was crying. I don't feel bad. I go over to Iris just to talk to her, just to chat, because initially I didn't really like Iris. Like her and I don't know. She's like a vegan. No shade to vegans, but she's like a gross vegan who just gets mad at me for eating meat. So, but she saved like my closest person here. Like she saved Hannah. So I just go over to her and I just ask her how she's doing.
She looks a little like shaken. It has not been long since she got out of her debriefing. And she says, it was a rough morning, but I'm gonna be okay. My weekends are going to be a little busy now.
I like pat her on her back, but I know she has a necklace. So as I'm patting her on her back, I kind of like unhook the necklace part to see if I could. It's a pretty necklace.
Roll a sleight of hand check to see if she if she catches you doing this.
Ooh, 21.
Well, give me 1 second because this is a contested roll. and I have to see her stats because I wasn't expecting you to try to rob Iris tonight. Well, it's a 21 and she crit. So let's see what her perception bonus is. It is a +1. So it's a tie, but she crit, so she's going to win. She notices you patting her back and like playing with her necklace, and she just kind of grabs it and adjusts it and then just holds on to it. She says, Zamora, what are you doing?
I'm just fixing your necklace. There's hair in it. No need to worry. Why do you always think I'm trying to do something? What if I'm just trying to vibe? Is it because I'm not a vegan? That's why. Okay. I get up and I walk away. End of conversation.
And she nods as you leave and just gets like confused and goes back to like sketching something in her notebook. Are you going to cause any more trouble before dinner today?
Probably not. I want to. Is there anywhere where I could get food? Because I'm just really hungry. It's not the kitchen.
There's let's see. There's a vending machine in the arena locker rooms.
Oh, I definitely go to that.
All right. You have enough money to get something out of the vending machine. What do you get?
I get Cool Ranch Doritos.
All right, cool. And you nom on that. And what are you going to do for the rest of the time between now and dinner?
I go back to my room and just sit there and eat my Doritos just by myself in my thoughts.
In your thoughts, wonderful. All right. What else did we do? We've covered Iris, Stevie, and Luna. Moon, Elia, Luke. Luke, what do you got?
Okay, so I see Zamora in like the arena locker rooms because I'm actually there for the locker room. And like Stevie, I'm also processing my emotions, but in a very different way. So I go to train, quote unquote, but it's really more just me like beating up like a dummy as hard as I possibly can.
I'm totally right now picturing that scene from Avengers when Captain America's just ripping wood apart. So you're in there training, you're hitting at this dummy. Are you going to rage at any point, or are you just like whacking at it with your axe?
Honestly, I can't bring myself to focus hard enough to rage. So I'm just kind of going at it with my fists for a while, and then once I get tired of that, I go with my axe. Yeah, the dummy's in for a bad time.
Yeah, it's a good thing these things are enchanted, because if it wasn't, this thing would be in a bad way. And I think the way it looks, how long are you going to do this for?
Probably a good 3 or 4 hours.
So you start off and you're like full on boxing, you're just beating this thing up. And at the point where it starts to look like the stuffing is falling out of it and you're like huffing and puffing, the magic kind of resets it back to normal and it looks like before you started, and you get really angry and you run over and you grab the nearest axe and you just start hacking at it, just like over and over and over. And you get a really good workout in. I mean, you're feeling really good. The cardio's going, your muscles are tired. The axe starts to weigh toward the end of the afternoon. And before you know it, it's like an hour or two before dinner. You have anything else you want to do before dinner?
Probably going to want to shower before dinner.
I like that. So you go in the room, you take your shower, you come back out, what are you putting on to go to dinner? Not that you have to put on anything fancy.
Honestly, I don't really have a lot of variation in my style. I think I'm probably going to wear pretty much similar to what I was wearing this morning, which was my school uniform and like some light armor.
Nice. All right. And you head out to dinner. Elia, Moon, what are you doing?
First thing that I do is I just kind of leave the hall that we were in. And I just go to the vending machine. And of course, I'm not paying for that. And what I want is some good old Cheetos. So I want to try to manage to get Cheetos out of there without putting any money in. Maybe trying to open it.
Given that this is a school full of warriors, rogues, and mages, this vending machine is very hard to rob, but you can try. How are you going to rob it?
I'm going to try to, I guess, pick the lock so I can open it.
Go ahead, roll it.
All right. I got 14, but do I add anything to it?
Would be your, if you have proficiency in lockpicking tools, would be your proficiency. If not, then it's your sleight of hand.
Okay. 18 then.
Yeah, you get in there with your lockpicking tools, try and pick the lock in the vending machine, and they go in and you start fiddling with it. But it's almost like the lock is made of Jell-O. And every time you try to move and think you've got it ready to click, the entire construction of the lock changes and you have to start over.
And I reluctantly stick like $1 in or however much it is and just get my Cheetos defeated.
You get your Cheetos.
As I turn around, I notice that Luke looks very angry and clearly is going to go do something about it. And so I follow him to the gym and I just kind of sit there and watch him just go at it at the doll for a while, eating my Cheetos like popcorn.
Now, are you going to stand in the arena at arena level, or are you going to sit up in the stands and watch this like it's a show while eating your Cheetos?
I'm going to be in the stands. I'm watching this.
All right. I think at some point, you have no idea how she got in, but at some point, Amelia comes in and kind of lands on the bench next to you and walks over and starts like pecking at the bag like she wants a Cheeto too.
I'll give her a Cheeto.
She kind of chomps it and drops it and starts pecking at it.
I'm going to... Since Luke is obviously very distracted right now and is not going to talk to me, I start talking to Amelia. And I'm like, are you going to turn into something? Are you going to become like a dragon too? What's your secret?
She looks at you kind of like with one eye. And just goes, ah! And goes back to pecking.
Fine. After watching Luke go at it for like 30 minutes, I fall asleep on the bench and just kind of lay there. And then I get back up and I'm like, he's still going at it. And I just decide to leave because I feel like I've seen most of it.
Yeah, what you see actually as you're leaving is him switching from actually punching it to like pulling the axe out and getting like really angry as you're leaving. Where are you going?
I'm going to go back to the Medusa cabin and see what's hanging.
So you get back into the Medusa cabin. Most everyone else did not have as rough of an evening as you. So a lot of people are out and about. There is a Medusa common room. It's not used as much by anyone that's after like a second year. So most of the students that are in the common room are younger. Some of them are studying. There's one of them in the corner, kind of sitting cross-legged. He's got a like door handle in his lap and a pair of lockpicks and is practicing like picking the lock of the handle. There's another one who's got a whetstone and she's got her Medusa knife and she's just like sharpening it on the whetstone. Just general kind of like students who work at it or who are learning at a magical fighting school doing their stuff. No one is reading a book in this common room.
Yeah, of course. Normal school stuff. What's Zamora doing right now?
Zamora's asleep in her room.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm gonna fall back asleep too, because I don't have much of an idea of what to do. I'm gonna fall asleep for I'd say like 3 hours. And is there like I guess a room in the school with I don't know, like pool or like darts?
That's a really good question. I haven't thought of that. I think, you know what I think the nearest physical equivalent to you is in the Medusa common room, there's a dartboard and throwing daggers.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to do.
Practice that in the Medusa common room.
That's exactly what I wanted to do. I'll just practice my knife throwing for the remainder of the time.
Cool. And while you're doing that, we'll go over to Moon. What are you doing?
I think I'm going to take a nap for a bit because I'm just exhausted. But then after that, I think I want to go on a walk with Moon into like, not Moon, Poison, into like the forest kind of, and just kind of take a breather because I am as angry as everyone else, but I just haven't been showing it. So I'm kind of like unmasking. And yeah.
How long are you planning on taking this hike?
Well, I love movies. So when I'm angry, I just like to start explaining movie plots to Poison. So I think as long as I can go without wearing myself out.
What are you explaining to Poison as you're walking through?
The Matrix. I'm just basically telling her the whole plot. She knows it already. She just knows I'm so distressed. And by the time I get to the end, I find like a nearby stump and I just sit down. And then I see like a tree and I'm very tempted to start throwing knives at it.
But I definitely have at least one on you.
Yeah. So I kind of take my dagger and I start like throwing at it while still explaining the plot of the Matrix movies. And yeah, I get my anger out in a very weird way. But yeah, I just I sit there for a couple hours and then, yeah, I guess I'm just in the forest for a bit.
Cool. So while you're there throwing your knife into the tree, a patrol comes up. This patrol has got a couple of third years that you've never met in it. And it's led by an eighth year. And while you don't recognize this guy right away, after a few minutes, you actually recognize his holster and the daggers on his left thigh. It's the same one that was being worn by one of the people that went into the House of Darkness to clear it last night. He's the one that had the bolt action rifle. And you definitely recognize this guy by that kind of series of daggers. And as he walks up, he kind of saunters up and he says, you aware you're in violation of the rules right now?
Yeah, and I really don't care. Because I'm kind of angry at this guy because he's one of the guys that came in at the end of everything we went through. So I really just don't want to deal with him right now.
He says, as far as I understand, you're already in enough trouble at this point. You sure you want to answer with that answer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And he reaches for his radio, and as he's about to reach for it, one of the third years holds out a hand and goes, wait. That's the one who's got the coatl, right? And all of them look at Poison. And you see him drop his hand from his radio. And he goes, all right, let's go. And they all start to leave. Because you're technically not in violation of the rule because you have someone with you. Do you want to say anything as this group is leaving?
I just kind of want to laugh at myself. Like, not laugh at myself, but laugh, to myself. Because I didn't know that Poison being here with me meant I can do it. So I kind of play it off as like, yeah, that's right. I knew that. So
wonderful. As he's leaving, you can roll me a perception check.
14.
He's definitely like not happy about this whole thing and how it went down. He's huffing a little. The third year's all just kind of walking along with him, paying no attention to the fact that he's angry because they're very focused on the patrol. And that's it. I think we've touched everybody at this point. Now we're going to take a moment to introduce Lucius. Lucius, who's been sitting patiently. Let's start by Lucius, describe yourself to the recruits, to the audience, please.
Lucius. So what are you looking for when you want me to introduce him?
What does he look like? And how does he? Okay. I mean, we've met him before his transition, right. But he's not been on since.
Right. Okay. So the main crew probably knew him by another name of Popped Collar Kid. He's just like a really like uptight, I guess you could say, like snooty type like kid who probably thinks he's like better than everyone else, and he does think that. So he has like, he dresses in very nice clothes, I guess you could say. Like he is looking to impress like anybody he meets, and he's trying to make connections whenever he can.
Perfect. And then Lucius, share with all of us your house and your bloodline or your D&D race.
So Lucius is in Gilda the Lich, and he is a half elf, so half human, half elf.
And we have not had a lot of experience with half elves. They're actually on the rarer side of bloodlines, and they come from lore insert when an awakening happens and the magic can't latch onto either bloodline completely. You get a half elf. So there you go. Lucius, what are you doing today?
I think today is just another training day for him. So he's gonna basically grab like a big backpack and just fill it with a bunch of heavy stuff and start running laps around any track he could find for like hours upon hours of the day.
So do you prefer to run inside or would you like go out on a run like on the hiking trails?
Probably hiking trails.
I think at some point while we're doing this, you will definitely run past or maybe through Moon's dagger tossing. Do either of you interact with each other?
He sees that, or has she gotten in trouble yet?
I think it was probably before she got in trouble.
Okay. Probably stay clear of that area just because knives are being thrown around.
That's a good idea.
But yeah, besides that, just keeps on running.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to do that pretty much all the way up till dinner.
Yeah, like for way too long. Like his legs are wobbly by the end. But
perfect. All right. So let's jump to dinner, to our evening meal. As dinner time approaches, you all make your way to the grand hall for your evening meal. The hall has been returned to its usual setup with several long tables for each guild in the space. And by the time you arrive, a good portion of the school has already gotten settled into the meal. As you enter into the room, roll a perception check. Okay, let's see. Let me get these rolling in here. And Lucius, definitely will have you roll one for this too, please. Nice. All right. So we're going to start with Moon and Luke, who both rolled under 5. As you come in, the dining hall, the grand hall, as it's referred to, always is a buzz of activity. There's always a ton of people. There's always lots of eating and whispering. And tonight is absolutely no different. In fact, it sounds like it's even more energized. There's even more talk going on. There are people who look like they've got full plates of food in front of them and haven't taken a bite yet. You're not able to really pick out anything specific. But you do pick out that there's a lot of chat about a lot of different things that happened last night. Let's go to Stevie, Zamora. Yep, Stevie and Zamora. As you kind of move about to space, you overhear that most of the people are talking about simple, kind of boring things about their night, trick-or-treating, getting some candy, that sort of stuff. You each overhear the same 2 conversations between the 2 of you. You overhear the fact that one of them is talking about Team 1. And as you listen to this and you hear in this conversation about Team 1 the mention of Hannah, you realize that they're telling a kind of telephone version of the story of what happened to you last night. Several details completely wrong. One of them talks about how Elia is dead and he died in the water torture. And the other one's like, no, he's not dead. He just was reborn as a different god. Like the rumors are totally intense about what's going on. And then as you're kind of moving about, you also hear about Team 3. And Team 3 faced a very similar situation to what you all went through. But this team had zero problems because as a team, they had already trained together in the arena for their arena battles because they were an arena battle team. And so when they hit the ground running, they had no problems. Like they didn't experience any fear. They were kind of like almost boring at how good they did it. But the one weird thing about the rumor that you do hear that you can't actually differentiate is who was involved with this team. One rumor you hear is that it's like the lead arena team that's winning right now. And another rumor you hear is like, it's the bottom arena team. Can you believe they did so well? So it's impossible to tell who this group is, except that it's one of the arena teams. And then
Can we tell how much is true about that story since so much is fictionalized about ours?
You can definitely decipher that the core of what they went through is exactly the same. The only difference that you're trying to make out is who was part of that team. So like it was a fear test. There was 2 guys up in the attic. Like the similarities are scary. And then for Luna and Lucius. Let's see, which is the most interesting. So Luna, you were going to hear about Team 2. And Team 2 took on a full-on, full-level necromancer and a horde of zombies out in the forests. They actually had heard something out. One of them was a ranger and had sent out their pet to do a scope the area out, and it flew out and saw this open field where there were 10 zombies and a necromancer raising more, and they rushed out and they stopped it. They didn't have as much success as some of the other groups, and in fact, as you kind of hear people pointing at injured people, and one of them's got a broken arm. But it definitely was completely different from the experience that you all had. And no, I'm sorry, I'm going to actually switch that. Lucius, that's what you heard about that group. Luna with the Dirty 20 is going to hear about Team 5. Team 5 is very few people are talking about Team 5. The one conversation you overhear, though, is told from the first person perspective. This person is telling their story. And they talk about how their team faced a demon summoner, full on summoning demons from beyond, and his demon, and that they only survived because the cleric in their group called upon divine intervention. The entire team was down. He was about to fall himself, and he prayed to his deity, which was Osiris. And Osiris granted the entire team a surge of divine power, revived all of them from the dead, and imbued them with holy light, and enabled them to strike down the demon and the summoner. This story is told in such a whisper that the only reason you catch it is because it's being told by a sphinx who's sitting at the table right next to you. One thing you all notice as you listen to all of these things is that there are several things in common amongst all of these rumors. I'm sorry. Elia, yes, that is also what you hear with your crit. In addition to hearing about, there was one other team. Oh, yes, Team 4. And Team 4 was the closest to losing that wasn't Team 5. They were in the same sort of house setup that you were all in, and they were saved by Tara and Dakota moments before they actually arrived to your house. So the reason they didn't show up to you first is because they were actually saving this other group of students. And then amongst all of this, amongst everyone, the one kind of common thing you hear amongst these rumors is that these were all practitioners wearing the same sort of robes. They were all working some sort of similar spell to harness either fear or the darkness or some sort of element of that. That is kind of unclear as you listen to these rumors. As you learn all of this, what are you doing during this meal? Let's start with Elia and Luna, who've learned kind of the most outrageous things here?
I'm intrigued, and I'm trying to, like, silently eat, but also eavesdrop and listen in.
But I think that's the reason why you are so successful and learn so much, is because you're so focused on, like, okay, I'm going to look like I'm eating, but my ears are peeled. Luna?
This is weird. I'm incredibly curious. I want to hear as much as I can.
And you definitely, you keep listening. You're hearing all of this stuff. You might even pick up a few of those really totally off rumors about Team One. But it's so off, you can't even realize that that's your group that they were talking about, because it's so wrong.
I'm trying not to make it look like I'm listening, because I don't want people to know that I care about gossip.
And normally I would make everyone roll a performance check, but there's so much rumoring going on right now. No one's paying attention to people not listening. Zamora, what are you doing?
I hear the rumor that Elia is dead, and I immediately shut that down, because Elia's been my closest friend, and, like, I'm not gonna let people say, like, he's literally across, like, he's right in the cafeteria. I don't know why people are saying he's dead as if he's not right there.
I love this. In fact, I picture you walking up to another first year who's smaller than you and just being like, "You're wrong," and getting in their face. That's super fun for me. I'm enjoying that image. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go to Moon. What are you doing?
I mean, I got the least amount of information out of this whole group, so I'm just eating. I'm completely oblivious. I'm just chilling and eating.
Well, I'm telling you what I'm hearing.
Okay, cool. I love it.
Like,
did you gossip
like summon a demon? I'm even, like, stretching the truth more. Like, I normally wouldn't. Most of the time, I'm like, I gotta stick to the facts. But with Moon, I gotta impress her.
I love this aesthetic right now. So good. All right, let's go to Luke. What are you doing?
I pretty much got the same information that Moon did, so I'm kind of doing the same, just kind of eating. I honestly have not even noticed all of the conversation going on around me. Pretty oblivious.
As you're oblivious, one of the other Goliaths, and most of them are in the Guild of the Dragon, sits down next to you and he goes, dude, did you, like, tell me the truth, man? Did your bro Elia eat it? Did he die?
Bro, what? What are you saying, dude?
Dude, I heard that, like, y'all were in this, like, crazy house and he just totally died in a water tank.
Dude, he's, like, totally not dead. I saw him, like, a couple hours ago, okay?
He's like, prove it. Where is he? And he's, like, looking around for Elia, who's not hard to find. He's the only one who looks like himself in the room.
I look around and for some reason I can't find him either. So I'm like, Elia, where are you at, bro?
Elia, roll a perception check to see if you hear your name being called.
9.
And you said you were listening, so roll it with advantage.
Oh, okay, good. Both are 9, so I got 9.
Is that with your bonus? Do you have a bonus?
+1, yeah. So I rolled an 8.
So you think you kind of hear your voice, but you can't tell from what direction.
I'm gonna look around and I'm like, what? Are you giving off, like, hand signals, Luke?
Yeah, can I like wave around a little bit, like,
as you
right here?
Up and start waving, Elia, you can definitely see Luke when he stands up at his 7 feet tall and starts waving.
Mm-hmm. And I have some food in my mouth. I'm like, what?
And then I nudge the Goliath next to me and I'm like, bro, look, he's right there.
He's like, oh, cool, man. What's up, Elia? He's a first-year Goliath just waving at you.
Hey, man.
And he sits back down and he starts eating his food. He's got a giant plate of food and it's just, All right. Stevie, what are you doing?
I'm not one to start talking to people and telling them they got things wrong. So I'm just kind of listening to all of these wrong things and, like, laughing to myself. But I'm just kind of eating and eavesdropping.
I want to give you some creativity option or ability here. What is the weirdest version of your story that you hear?
I definitely heard someone say that they thought Moon was the person in the cloak behind everything. And that was weird because she was with us the whole time, and I don't know where they got that from. But I definitely heard someone say that like the hooded figure took off their cloak and it was Moon.
Oh, I'm writing that rumor down.
Okay.
Do I hear this?
Roll a perception check.
Yeah, how far are these tables away from each other? How much of all of this are we hearing?
I think this is a common rumor at this point, so let's see if Luna picks it up.
I got 6. This is the worst time for me to roll bad. Please,
No, yeah,
I
you
need
don't
to know.
you don't hear it. But Luna, but Moon, this is a rumor about you, so let's see if you hear it. Roll a perception check.
Come on, Moon, you gotta tell me.
I got a 3.
Yeah, you don't.
Please.
And I think the reason you don't hear it is you're sitting with the other flumps, and they all know that you are still at school and not the bad guy. So none of them are spreading this rumor. I think it's a very lich rumor, which is why Stevie's hearing it. Lucius, what are you doing?
He's just gonna like shove down his dinner into his mouth as fast as possible and starts running to like as many people as he can, just to learn as much as possible and like compare all the different stories to like cross off like, oh no, this like let's see, how do I put this into words? Like one thing will cancel out another thing, so like to find out the real story and about all the teams.
I love this image of Lucius the half-elf just like moving from group to group with a note.
He has to learn everything.
Like, striking things out, editing things. He's going to have the most complete explanation of what happened that evening that's not in a teacher's notebook. I love it. All right. I've covered everybody at this point, right? Cool. As the meal begins to end, Jade stands at the table at the head of the room, moves to the top of the stairs and attempts Henita's 2 clap. While uncommon for any teacher but Henna to use it, Jade's serious face sells that she wants attention, and most of the grand hall repeats the clap and quiets down. Do you? Seeing nods from most of you. All right. Like Luke actually clapped. I appreciate that. All right. Jade adjusts herself, stands a little taller, and speaks. She sounds tired and very ready for her day to be over. It is my evening to make announcements, and that is fitting, given that the Guild of the Medusa has the biggest announcement of the evening. As she says this, there are some Medusa hisses from one of the Medusa tables. First, faculty and staff would like to recognize that last night you may have been pretty scared. It was probably scary for many of you. We've tried to let you know what we know, but also what you need to know. This may not have been the best idea. What we can tell you about last night and what is going on in the world is this. The darkness is growing in power and becoming bolder. Last night, it made a play for power that is unlike anything that it has done before. We are lucky. We won. And we didn't lose anyone this time. That being said, it is extremely important moving forward for your safety that you ensure that you are following orders that are given to you. You are all training hard to be heroes, but the faculty and staff see a bigger picture, and you have to keep that in mind. We will not always be as lucky or underestimated as we were last night. Now, on to school news. This week's arena battle will go on as planned, with the Dragon team, the Fireballs, facing off the Medusa and Lich team, Shade. Competitions begin at the usual 9 a.m. on Sunday. Applications for off-campus quests for all 5th through 8th year students can be picked up at your guild common area and turned into your guild captain by the end of the week. And speaking of guild captains, we have an announcement of a captain change. With this, there are more hisses from the Medusa table. As most of you know, we in the Guild of Medusa decide our guild leader via a constantly ongoing competition. The rules are simple. The current captain must maintain possession of the guild captain medallion. Should another guild member steal it at any point or in any way, they become captain. The only rule is that it may not be taken through violence or magical coercion. Last night, The medallion was taken from a sleeping and injured Hannah Thomas after she recuperated from actions that were more than heroic. Our new guild leader seized upon her moment of weakness and snuck into her room in the infirmary, stealing the medal for himself. I must announce that the new Guild of the Medusa leader is the 8th year student, Francois Chevalier. There are very mixed responses to this. Many of the Medusas, especially a large contingency of Francois Chevalier's friends, cheer the Medusa hiss, while almost as many boo. As a whole, the Guild of the Dragon join in the booing. The Sphinxes largely remain silent or politely applaud. The Flumps largely boo, while the Lich students have the widest reactions. Some boo, especially the younger ones. Some cheer. Many don't even look up from whatever they are reading or working on or eating. How are you reacting? Let's start with Luke.
I see my bros around me starting to boo this guy. And I think like, oh, this guy must have done something like bad. Well, I mean, clearly he did something bad. He stole the medallion from her like that. So I just stand up and start booing with them.
I love it. Moon, what are you doing?
My head's completely empty.
Shock. No, I totally get it. Luna, you're sitting next to Moon. You're hearing the same information. How are you reacting?
Bro, that sounds like a white boy name.
You do know that Pierre Chevalier, to put some dots together for many of you, also exists. And it is very likely that they're related, and Pierre is French Canadian.
I'm so mad. I am booing. I'm not even really booing. I'm just yelling. I saw Hannah. She was injured. She's still recovering. I don't know how any of those Medusas can think that's okay. I'm so mad. And this white boy, has to be a white boy. I mean, I'm so mad.
Totally understandable. And Stevie?
I'm not bold enough to start booing with everyone else, but I'm just going to let out just like a really large, like I'm so frustrated. And then I start writing what I think I can only describe as like a manifesto, just detailing all of these plans of like, how can we make Hannah captain again? This guy seems terrible.
Before we get to Zamora and Alaya, our two Medusa members, Lucius, how are you reacting?
The news doesn't really faze him. He's just eating now, I guess. Yeah. Doesn't really care too much. I mean, a win's a win, right? You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's a very good, acceptable Lich and Lucius answer. Let's start with Zamora. How are you reacting to this news?
Oh, I'm livid. At first I don't have any words. Like I'm just in shock, just dead staring at that dude. Just my hands are clenched. He's so angry because how could someone take advantage of such a great like leader, someone who's worked so hard to be with us since day one? Like, how are you just going to take advantage of them when they're weak? Like, that's not okay in any way, shape, or form. So I'm just standing there. I'm just mad. My thoughts are like going crazy right now.
Roll me a d20 right now. Just roll the 20 and give me the number.
8.
You are definitely feeling this. You're feeling the desire, the want to get up and stand. But before you make that decision, you notice that you're sitting in a section of people that are fully supporting Lucius. He's actually about 5 feet away from you at the end of the table.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like any of the area I'm in. And I feel like people supporting him kind of like angers me more. So I just get up and I walk straight to him. I just beeline towards him.
Okay, we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to come back to that, I promise. Alaya, what is your reaction and what are you doing?
Oh, I'm like, really, man? In the infirmary? Do you have standards? What is wrong with you? Because I know very well what happened to Hannah, and I know what she went through, so I'm angry too.
This is chef's kiss. So in love with this moment. We're gonna end this for our bio break in just a second. Zamora, as you approach him, he's an 8th year boy. He's the boy, and Moon's gonna recognize him as he stands. That last night. Let me see. I'm going to read this exactly. He was part of the team that cleared the House of Darkness last night. He looks like a taller version of Pierre. He's got pale skin, brown floppy hair combed over in a gentle wave. He looks like many of the Medusa rogues. His limbs look like they're spun from steel wires. He smirks a devilish grin and high-five several of his friends, the guild medallion dangling prominently around his neck. For the first time you see it, and it appears to look like an ancient silver coin with a Medusa on it. The edges have a soft etching, looking dulled and rubbed and soft at even this distance. Zamora, you'll be the one who notices this best. As he stands, he takes a bow, and you all recognize him as the 8th year who climbed out of the Jeep with the rifle and the throwing daggers in the cloak, and would have very clearly and easily seen the injured Hannah in the back of the truck, and also had the interaction with Moon earlier this afternoon. And as we realize all of this, you also notice, without any roll, because you're all looking for them, that Hannah and Reaper are both not at the meal. And that's where we'll leave for our bio break. We'll be back in just about 5 minutes. All right. We return. Welcome back. As Zamora begins to approach Pierre's brother, Francois, who is currently finishing taking a bow, as the school as a whole reacts with very mixed reactions to the fact that he is now the Guild of the Medusa leader. Zamora, what are you doing? Or what do you intend to do in this moment?
I intend to give him a piece of my mind. I'm getting that medallion back in any way, shape, or form, because that's just not cool.
I will remind you, before you do this, that you are aware of the fact that there is a rule that it cannot be done through violence or mystical or magical coercion. So
I'm not going to be violent.
No, I mean, you can be violent, but also there's a giant school rule about not attacking students outside of the arena. So just make sure you're, as a player, you're aware of these decisions before you make them. All right. So how are you approaching? Is this a swift walk? Is it a slow, like movie serial killer angry walk? What does this walk look like?
Definitely swift. I want to get there as quick as possible.
Roll me a perception check as you make this walk, because he is definitely between you and the teachers.
17. Oh, wait, hold on. No, I need my, it's a 20, dirty 20.
Yeah, as you make this very swift walk, you hear a cough just cut through the crowd, coming directly from the front of the room, and you can definitely tell that Jade is staring right at you as you're making this move.
I stop in my tracks and I like look at her to like see what she needs, if she needs anything important.
Roll me an insight check to see how well you understand what she's saying without talking at you. It's so good that she's a high-level bard.
17.
You totally could tell by the look on her face. She's sending remember what we talked about this morning? Remember what you're going to have to be training on with Raketti? This is the look she's sending you right now.
I don't want to get in any more trouble with Jade. So I make my walk less swift to make it look like I calm down a little bit, but I still go straight towards him.
You see her, she calms a little. She still is a little tense as she watches this, but she lets it play out for a second. Go ahead, say what you're going to say. Or do what you're going to do.
I walk straight towards him, and is he facing towards me or away from me?
At this point, he's sat back down and he's like high-fiving his boys. He's doing his thing right now.
Oh, I make room and I like sit in between him and like the friend that's right next to him. Like I like
roll a strength check to see if you can move this boy who's sitting next to him.
Sorry, I forgot to add 13.
Oh, yeah, you can't move him. He feels your hand on his shoulder and he leans into it and looks right at you and then looks at Francois. Francois looks at you and says, yeah, first year, what do you want?
First of all, I have a name. It's Zamora, and you're going to call me it. Second, what was that? What was that? You're seriously so weak that you have to take a medallion when Hannah's at her lowest, that you can't do it when she's in her prime. You're that weak. That's really embarrassing.
He smirks. He's like, no, weak. I took advantage of her weakness. She was the weak one. And I don't have to answer to you. It was all within the rules.
Are you okay? And I calmed down because I knew I was going to do something wrong. So I just say, screw the rules. You know what? If that were you, you wouldn't like either. Your brother was in there terrified. Did we take advantage of him? No, we saved him. You went in that house and you were supposed to save her. You weren't supposed to do anything else. What is your issue? What is wrong with you?
It wasn't my job to save her. She was already out. My job was to clear the building. And why am I even answering to you? Go sit down. That's an order from your guild captain.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my guild captain. Hannah is my guild captain.
He holds up his medallion. That says, I'm your guild captain. Sit down, first year. And he goes back to his conversation.
Oh, I hate men. And I turn around and I just go sit down.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah, I say that right to his face. I say that out loud.
Zero reaction from him. You are below reacting at this point. It's so fun to write evil characters. So at this point, the hall is settling a little. Zamora is fuming. Elia, you and Zamora have bonded. You're sitting at the same guild table. Do you react at all to her making this move and doing this thing? It's clearly it happens out in the open, plain to see. I'm sure you witnessed the whole thing.
I think I really kind of want to join her, but at the same time, like I kind of see Jade and she's kind of giving her the eye, and I'm like, I think I'm a little bit more afraid of Jade than she is. So I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to join or to say, Zamora, please just sit down. But when she comes back, I tell her, we're going to get him back.
As you say this, I think the rest of the hall begins to quiet, and Jade continues. Well, that is this evening's announcements. Regular classes resume tomorrow. If you are struggling with dealing with the events of the past few days, please reach out to your guild leader or your guild captain. With that, Jade returns to her seat. Several students begin moving about, starting to clean up as the announcements mark the official end of the evening. It is now the end of your day. What are you all doing as the evening wraps up and you begin to go kind of wrap up your day?
Did anyone else see this interaction with Zamora?
Oh, I think it was pretty public. I think anybody who wanted to have seen it can have seen it at this point.
Okay, then as we're walking out, I'm going to walk up to her. Since I've spoken to her a couple times before, I think I'm pretty comfortable talking to her at this point. And I'm just like, okay, so we're figuring out a plan to make Hannah guild captain again, right? That's what we're doing.
No question about it.
Cool. Should we get everyone else in on this?
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to visit Hannah first because she wasn't in there. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, Reaper wasn't in there either. I'll come with you.
Okay.
All right. Before we go to that, which we're definitely going to go to, let's see what everyone else is doing as they come out.
I want to go with them too.
All right. So, Elia, do you just kind of find them and step without saying anything? Do you say anything to them? What do you?
I figured that me and Zamora are probably walking out together. So
yeah, I think that's totally great idea. You heard the whole conversation. Do you add anything to it, or are you just kind of quietly following along with them?
I think before Stevie came up, me and Zamora were kind of I guess devising a plan already. So we were kind of already talking about it, but I see Stevie and I'm like, cool.
Anyone else doing anything at this point?
I saw what Zamora. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I saw what Zamora did, and I'm proud of her, and I do want to go and help. But she probably doesn't like me, and I don't like her very much, and I don't really want to admit that I want to go with her, but I do. So first, I go and ask Moon how she feels.
By the way, Luna is in the middle of asking me as I'm explaining the plot of the Matrix to her. I don't know what else to do.
I gotta wait a little bit. I have to listen to the plot of the Matrix. I haven't watched the movie. I don't think it's very appropriate for my brothers. But I listen to her.
But yeah, after that, I guess Luna asks me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I needed someone to stop me.
So you both agreed you're going to go. How are you going to follow them out? Are you going to try and connect with the group? Are you going to show up to the obvious place where she's going to be is the infirmary?
I'm going to trail slowly behind. I don't want Zamora to know that I'm following her and that I like her or anything. I agree with what she's doing. I don't know how I feel about her yet, but I'm going to follow just, because I had the same idea.
While Luna is slowly trailing behind, I'm getting more and more anxious. So I just end up grabbing Luna and with my tiny little feet, I try and drag her and run very quickly to catch up with the rest of the group.
All right.
I hear Moon struggling as she's running. So I turn around and I see Luna and Moon just following us. And it's what the heck?
What are you looking at?
Chill with attitude. I'm not doing that right now. Calm down.
Okay.
I turn
right, before we continue it,
you.
I want to get Luke in this because I'm pretty sure he's going to join. So Luke, what are you doing?
Yeah, but before I join, I see the whole thing between Zamora and Francois go down. And I kind of look over at Pierre and I narrow my eyes a little, and I'm like, "You kind of look like that guy. What's up?"
And he kind of like sinks in his chair. He's like, "Yeah, he's my brother."
That guy is your brother? Bro, no way.
Yeah, I mean, and his brother's like human, like normal human height. Pierre, not human, gnome.
And then after everyone starts kind of heading out, I see the people, like everyone that was with me last night, start heading out of the room, and I'm like, we're all doing something important. I better go catch up. So I'm the last one to kind of walk over. And I go, "Yo, Steve, what's up, Elia? How are you guys doing?"
Nice performance today.
What do you mean?
Oh, the gym with the doll. You guys were great together. I must say, top of the line stuff.
Where were you? What? You didn't even say hi to me, bro.
Yeah, I was around. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of like, my name isn't Steve.
Bro, come on. You're Steve to me.
Why am I Steve to you? There's clearly an I.
It's too much work.
Before we get to this antics, Lucius, let's end with you for now, because I'm pretty sure you're not going to join this group of insanity. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm out. I think I'm good. I got a lot of like studying to do tonight. Just gonna head back to the Lich Guild.
Get back to the guild. You do more studying and then eventually to bed. All right, let's. We're going to come back to you either later tonight or next week, depending on how much more we do of our shenanigans, which I'm loving. Keep the shenanigans up. Group, you've now kind of congregated in the lobby of the guild hall, and you're clearly sitting there with everyone else having a conversation. What are you talking about? I'm going to kind of leave it to you all to role play this moment.
Moon, you want to keep talking about the Matrix?
Now that we've caught up with the group, I'm glad Luna stopped me, but I also, when I start talking, I need to finish talking. So I kind of take Luna to the side and I'm like finishing my sentence and we're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then Neo did this.
I've taken out a notebook and have written my name in very large letters and I'm like showing the letters to Luke. I'm like, see, Stevie.
Yeah, I get it, bro, but like, I mean, like you said, we're like friends, right? So, I mean, I wanted to give you like a cool nickname, and that was the only thing I could think of. So.
Oh, okay, that's fine. You can call me Steve then.
Yeah.
I just put the notebook away, and I'm like, friends.
So, what are we doing?
Oh, we're going to find Hannah and Reaper.
As everyone's talking, I'm ready. I'm annoyed already, so I'm still walking to the infirmary.
I'm also annoyed, and I turned to Zamora and I'm like, why are we letting these people join us?
I don't know. They asked, and I wanted to be nice for once. I really don't know.
I see Zamora walking away, and I go, "Yo, Z-Dog, where you going, man? Come on!"
I stop in my tracks, and I turn around, and I'm like, "Z-Dog."
Yeah, like
you could. Okay, Lulu.
I mean,
Lulu. I turn back around and I just continue walking.
Nice one, Z-Dog.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, you all begin to make your way to the infirmary. I'm going to narrate a little your trip, and then if you want to interact any more on the way, you can. The infirmary is it's on the second story of the guild hall, so you actually have to wait for the elevator because it's the only way the liches can get to their guild hall. And it's also, a lot of students wanting to go upstairs to their bedrooms. Many of the guilds sleep in the renovated hotel. So there's a little bit of a wait as you wait for the elevator. And now would be a time if you have anything you want to say to each other or look for anybody else in the space before we move on to the actual infirmary.
No, I'm going straight to the infirmary. Like we're on a mission, and
So you're just waiting by the elevator, tapping your toe, not talking to anyone.
I continue pressing the button until the elevator gets here because in my mind it makes it come faster.
Is there anyone else? Oh, sorry. You can go, Moon.
Oh, I was gonna say, I kind of like, I don't abandon Luna, but I kind of have like a very distracted mind. This is something like Moon doesn't really like to tell people, but when you get to know her, she's very distracted. So she's like in the middle of talking to Luna and she says something that reminds her of something else. So she runs over to Alaya and is like, why did you take off my masterpiece? Because I realized that I don't know, not much time has passed in my head. So I go and talk to Alaya because I realized I hadn't talked to him enough about the last Airbender art that I gave him.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I was put in a tank of water and drowned. So sorry that my makeup fell off.
I can redo it for you if you want.
No, thank you.
I'm a little jarred by this subject change, but I run over and I'm like, yeah, we could redo it for you.
Please.
Is there anyone else in the elevator?
Elevators, there's a line for the elevator, so you got a minute here if you want to continue to interact with this moment.
Is there like a lot of people though?
I mean, there's going to be about a 5-minute wait to get into the elevator.
Okay. The weird question, very specific. Is the person at like the front on their phone by any chance? Or anyone in line ahead of us, really?
There's definitely, it's a good chunk of a line. There's definitely a couple of people on their phones, like waiting for the elevator. Yeah, totally.
Okay. I'm gonna take one of those people and I'm gonna cast Minor Ripple on their phone and make a text appear that's just like, dude, we need you in, I don't know what guild they're in, but like, we need you in your common room. Like, come back. There's something big happening.
You can just put the common room and...
The common room, yeah.
Yeah. And you watch as they kind of perk up and they grab like 3 of their friends and they exit out the front door because they're all wearing Medusa gear and they're headed out to the dark amphitheater where no one else is right now.
That'll make it go faster.
Line just got a little shorter. And eventually you get to the elevator and Zamora's pushing the button, ignoring everyone else. And eventually the door opens. You all climb on. Infirmary's on the 2nd floor. Do you let anyone else on the elevator with you? Or are you going to be that group that's like, no, sorry, elevator's full?
There's 7 people. How many can we even let on?
Well, it's 6 people. Lucius isn't with you. It's 6 of you. And Poison. But you can get more. You're 6 teenagers. You can get at least another 3 or 4.
It's definitely full.
Okay.
I give anyone else like a dirty look, like don't come in here.
And I think roll me a perception, roll me an intimidation to see how good that dirty look is.
18.
So the next group in line is a group of Lich students that clearly want to use the elevator to get to their bedrooms, and they see this look from you, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we didn't want to get on it anyway. We're definitely not going to get on it now." They all take a step back away from you, and the door closes, and you go up to the 2nd floor. So the infirmary is on the 2nd floor. It's located directly above the guild's. The grand hall, the dining hall, and it's about the same size. It's another renovated ballroom, and you walk up to the door, and there is there's a student. He's a flump at the door, kind of not so much standing guard, more kind of like he's the watch to make sure that everyone in there is safe and that anyone who comes through here signs the clipboard. Luna and Moon, you haven't interacted with this student much. You know, he's a 6th year. And that's pretty much about all you know about him. And you approach and he says, "Can I help you?"
We're here to see Hannah.
Cool. Sign the clipboard. Don't cause any trouble. And if she's asleep, you need to leave.
Okay. I signed the clipboard.
I signed it too.
So Luna and Moon sign the clipboard and move in.
I also signed the clipboard.
I'm signing it as well. I'm not causing problems.
Where's the 2 of you on? takes it and holds it out for Elia and Luke to sign.
Signing it.
Waves you on.
I grabbed is it a pencil or a pen or like what is it?
It's a pen.
Okay. I grabbed the pen to sign it and I hold it a little too hard and it breaks.
He goes, first year barbarians. He pulls out another pen and hands it to you. He says, be gentle with this one, please. It's my last one.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to sign it.
There's also now ink all over your hands and the clipboard. Like it's a mess. He takes it from you.
And that is dripping.
There's a little table like next to where he's standing. And he just kind of just drops it there and just goes, oh, no, I'm not dealing with that. Next shift can deal with that. And he turns around. He's like wiping ink off of his hands. Just go in. And you go in. There's about a dozen beds kind of lining the walls, and they all have like separating curtains. And there's no one in the first few beds. And as you kind of start in, he kind of leans into the room. He's like, they're in the south corner, which is the back corner of the room.
I go straight for the back corner.
Same.
You make your way, and the curtain is closed. And you can definitely hear the sounds of a deep, like, bassy snoring.
There's no way that's there.
It's probably Reaper.
Fair enough. I try to open the curtains.
I'm glad you didn't try to knock on the curtains. I was waiting for it. So you peek into the curtain. You're going to, like, fully throw it open, or you're just going to, like, peek in?
I'm gonna like quickly pull it open, like just enough where I can like walk through, just like, not like throwing it, but like.
So you open it pretty quickly. Let me see. I'm gonna roll for Reaper.
I'm looking over his shoulder.
So you quickly throw it open. You hear like, and you notice from the source of this sound that Reaper is actually asleep in a chair in the far corner of the room. She has a notebook kind of like open, kind of on her chest, stomach, like she passed out reading. And Hannah is sitting kind of up, pillows behind her back, wearing that oversized Gilded Lich sweatshirt that she was wearing this morning still. Her leg outside the covers with the cast on it still, obviously. And she's reading it's a history book. This one is not in a language any of you have studied yet, but you could tell it's a history book because the design is like exactly the same of your history book, and it looks like it's just like it's history volume 7, and she's clearly like studying, trying to pass the time when she's in the infirmary. And she looks up and she's, "What are you all doing here?"
I saw what that white boy did.
Zamora, what do you say?
Hey, shut up. This is not the time. And then I go straight for Hannah. But I think Luke was going to say something.
Oh, sorry, I missed the end of that.
I think Luke was going to say something.
Oh, yeah.
I go for Hannah.
So you're moving towards Hannah. Luke?
I see the history book in Hannah's like hands. And I go like, bro, like, why are you reading about Pangea? You should be taking care of yourself right now.
She looks, she's like, finals don't stop just because I broke a leg.
Well, they should.
And she gives it the look like, oh, honey. Like, Luna, you're smarter than that.
I don't think that's fair.
It may not be fair, but, this is school, and I want to do well. I need to score highly. I got to, pass my assessments.
They won't give you, like, accommodations or something?
I mean, Ricketti's going to bring it to me. I don't have to go up to the classroom if I'm still if I'm still having a hard time getting around. I'm hoping to be at least in a walking cast by then.
I don't know. That's crazy, but I'm proud of you for studying, I guess.
And she gives you a smile. She says, thanks.
How long's it been since Reaper's gotten out of that chair?
She realizes that Reaper's sleeping. She's like, Reaper hasn't slept since like yesterday. So let's just not wake her up, okay?
Sorry.
Well, anyways, so we're here because we heard what that little rat Francois did. And you didn't hear it from me, but somebody's gonna get that thing back to you.
And she looks at you, she's like, oh, I know I'm gonna get that thing back. But I gotta heal up first.
You don't need to heal up. Don't worry about it.
And she gives you a look. She's like, what are you saying, Elia?
Oh, I don't know. Zamora, what am I saying?
Well, I think Elia is saying. I say this as I'm giving her our secret handshake because we have a secret handshake because we're cool. And I think Elia is saying we're gonna get your medallion back.
And she's like, oh, you guys are so sweet, but like, you know that's not how it works, right? Like, if you get the medallion, it's yours.
Okay.
No one's ever given it to someone.
But if they got it and then left it accidentally on your bed and you took it, it'd be yours.
And
if I happened to tell you where it was and I wasn't there, where it was, and you took it.
And she starts to chuckle. She's like, oh man, Francois would like, oh, it'd be bricks. It'd be bricks. She's like, but you can't take that risk for me. I mean, it's not worth it. I'll get it back.
I don't think
risk.
You understand.
There's no violence.
I do not want Francois to be my leader. No.
She's like, no one does, honey. It's just. I mean, do you even have a plan? Like, how would you do it? I mean, he's an eighth year, and believe me, like the eighth year I stole it from, it was practically impossible.
That's what we'd need your help with.
So what you're saying is you want me to come up with a plan for you to steal it for me?
You don't have to come up with it entirely by yourself, but you have knowledge that we don't have. We're first years.
Roll me a perception check. All of you. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yep. Okay, Zamora is the only one. Yes, if you rolled a 20, that's a crit, Zamora. Zamora is the only one who's going to notice this. As you're having this moment, this conversation, Reaper's breathing has changed just slightly.
I look at Reaper to see if they've moved from their position because I think they might feel like.
Roll me a perception check again.
$13.
Yeah, their face is not that kind of like relaxed, slacked face of someone who's sleeping anymore. It looks like the face of someone who's trying to look like they're sleeping.
I elbow Stevie because I know that she is the closest person to Reaper. I kind of like point at Reaper and I like whisper like I think she's awake.
Should we let her just pretend to keep being asleep, or should we talk to her?
I don't know. That's why I told you.
Should we tell her? Let's tell Hannah.
Okay. Do I hear this conversation?
Roll me a perception check, and the two of you, if you don't want other people to hear it, need to roll a stealth check. This is a in-party contested roll, so this will happen occasionally when some party members want to keep something from other party members. Share your rolls out loud, please.
I crit.
Luke totally crit. Now, crit, we have been throwing this term around too, and I've been told to explain more for our audience members that don't play D&D. Means that the player rolled a 20, which is the maximum you can roll on a D20. And in some games, for an ability check, doesn't mean anything, but for me, means they're going to get something fun. So, Zamora and Stevie, what did you roll?
18.
I also rolled an 18.
Yeah, you totally hear this entire conversation, Stevie. And because you've heard this conversation, or Luke, I'm sorry. And because you've heard this conversation, you can look over and totally recognize that Reaper is definitely faking sleep.
So now that I've recognized this, I wave at Reaper and I go, "Hi, Reaper."
And Reaper kind of sits up, closes her book, and says, "What's up, Incline North? How y'all doing this evening?" Referring to you by
Just came to talk to Hannah.
We're better now that we know that you guys are both, doing well-ish.
Well, I mean, as good as we can be. I mean, Hannah's got some recuperation to do, and I'm going to keep her company. And out of trouble, she says, as she looks at Hannah, and then the 6 of you.
Would you happen to want to get that medallion somehow back into Hannah's hands? I mean, I don't really know like how it would get. It's probably just an accident,
Completely accidental.
Believe me, I have plans for Francois, the little jerk. She says, but I can't put any official challenges in until Sunday. And
Why
you
Sunday?
all would recognize the term official challenge as in like one-on-one arena combat challenge.
All right. Remind me not to make you.
I'm getting an idea.
You don't plan on like combating Francois by yourself, right?
What's
You
up?
guys- the high-
Well, I mean, we don't have to be violent.
Well, she says, I think someone needs to teach Francois a lesson. And since no one seems to want to stand up to him, I'm going to call him out and at least get a chance to get some aggression out on this scrawny little rogue. And as she says all of this, anyone who's looking at Hannah can see that she's very uncomfortable about the idea of Reaper fighting this fight for her. Not just the fight itself, but like the idea of someone else fighting for her makes her uncomfortable.
You sure you don't want us to handle him for you? Because I think we might be better off doing it. Right, Hannah?
And Hannah takes a moment, looks at all of you and looks at Reaper. She says, look, they would have the numbers advantage.
No, here. See, this is an opportunity right in front of us. We can't use the violence, but in this, Reaper has to, right? I'm just...
Reaper and Hannah nod like, yes, the point of calling someone out into the arena is to use violence. Yes,
I think we could, take this out. They take advantage of this somehow.
We all heard how
Wait
he
until
talked
Sunday,
to,
right?
We
Couple
all heard
people-
how he talked to Zamora in the dining hall. Are we calling it the dining hall? Yeah. We all heard how he talked to Zamora in the dining hall. If we all 6 of us challenge him, he'll accept it. He's not going to expect anything from us. He'll think it's an easy win.
You do realize, though, that if 6 of you challenge him, he would have the right to select 5 other people to fight in the arena with him, right?
I mean, yeah.
And that if you challenge him, the 6 of you, he's going to bring all of his 8th year friends, right? And this is Reaper, who just kind of like puts this logic on the table a little harshly, but the reality just drops.
Well, we have to do something.
Possibility that he could think that he's better than all of us.
And
One of us makes it seem like if one of us challenges him to defeat all of us.
so Hannah moves a little, and as she moves, she winces, and Reaper kind of hops up and is like, "Is you okay?" And Hannah goes, "Would you just give me some painkillers or something?" And Reaper traipses on off, and as Reaper's gone, Hannah looks at you, like, "You've got the right idea, Luna, but don't fight the fight. Use it as an opportunity to steal the medallion from him."
That's exactly what I was saying.
You've got the right idea. Spill it. And she recognized that you had the plan and is now handing it to you to explain.
Just because Reaper's fighting him, and I don't know, maybe she could distract him, and then one of us kind of runs in and
Does that not count as violence?
Well, no,
Technically, we're not committing violence against him. Reaper is.
Yeah, if Reaper is fighting him not with the intention to take the medallion, then it's fine, as long as we don't use violence as we're taking the medallion. We don't have to say that we're not Reaper in on this.
We're not committing violence. We're not magically coercing him. We're just tricking him. Isn't that what your guild's all about, Alaya?
That's technically exactly what he did. He took advantage of Hannah who was weak, and stole it behind her back.
Hate to say it, Luna, but it's a pretty good idea.
You know, if Reaper needed any help, I wouldn't mind doing it like a 2-on-2.
And Hannah's listening to all of this and her wheels are spinning and she's like, there's got to be a way to take advantage of the arena fight. You've got the right idea. How do we do it?
Well, I mean, Stevie, you can use like minor illusion or something, right?
Well, and so Hannah's like realizing that you all probably haven't seen a one-on-one fight yet because there hasn't been one this year yet. And she's like, okay, so some things you need to know about how these things work. When the fight starts, no one else is allowed into the arena. So if you're going to do something, you would have to literally jump into the arena, which is going to get you in a bunch of trouble. And the only magic that's going to work is going to be the magic being used by the people in the fight. But the fighters both start in their own locker rooms, and they each would have a healer waiting for them and an armorer to bring their weapons in their armor. How could we use
those? Is that healer pre-decided, or is the armor archers pre-decided?
Well, they're all taken from volunteers.
Well,
we volunteered, suddenly we're in the arena.
Community
and
service.
she gets the smirk like, you're sly. Okay, yeah, I think we can make this work. Give me a couple of days to work my end of it. Come back Saturday morning. But during breakfast, like right before you go to breakfast, because Reaper will go down to get our breakfast first thing in the morning. If you can come in when she's not here, then we can kind of get everybody on the same page. Come in with a plan.
Won't we eventually have to tell Reaper if she's going to be in the fight?
I think it's best if we don't tell her, because in case she does know, if we get caught in the act, then they'll think that Reaper was cheating with us.
Well,
deniability.
We got to think of a way where you're not involved in the fight, but taking advantage of the time around the fight, right? It's like that. It's like any of those old heist movies my grandpa used to watch. That heist never happens here; it happens over here.
Alaya, Zamora.
Mm-hmm.
He's been wearing it around his neck, right?
Yeah.
What if one of you volunteered to be his armorer, and then as you were putting on or taking off the armor, you take the medallion?
That sounds
It's as simple as that, but he would probably recognize us.
Probably.
We might need your help.
He seems too cocky to take off the medallion. He's going to want to leave it on and show it off.
I'm sure he's not that stupid, though. But it's a good idea.
You like minor illusion us into different people?
No. Listen.
It's not quite how the spell works.
Sorry.
We saw this morning how rumors get around here, right? What if we fabricate a little rumor that maybe, I don't know, our friend Reaper was going to steal it in the fight? Well, if that never happens, he'll just leave it in the locker room. He won't think about it. He'll be too scared to bring it in. Because if Reaper wins.
That sounds good, but then that takes.
We'd have to tell him that rumor in the locker room.
Well, we wouldn't have to tell it. We just have to spread it.
And he's like, I think y'all got a really good idea. And she starts writing. And then as she's writing, like the writing she's writing is disappearing. And she hands you the pad and the pen and says, use this, plan it, and send it to me by any carrier. Drop it off at the guard at some point tomorrow as you finish your plan. But Reaper is going to be back any second. And as she says that, Reaper comes back in through the curtain. And she says, what are you all... noticing that you were all now completely silent as she's walked into the room. What are y'all talking about?
Leaving.
Yep.
Yes.
We were just about to leave.
We have to go to the bathroom.
All of us.
Yep.
I look over at Reaper and I say in the same tone as when she was waking up. I go like, "Hi, Reaper."
And she's the only one of the few people that aren't a Goliath that is almost as tall as you. Dragonborn are tall. And she says, okay, well, y'all have a good night. Stevie, I won't be down to the common room tonight, but if you need anything, you can use the you send a runner, or, I'll be here. There's a phone on the wall.
Okay, cool.
You all.
And knowing that she's not going to be in the common room, I'm going to take that paper. Because I'll be the only one with, well, actually, technically, yeah, I'll be the only one with the guild captain not watching me.
There's that. All right. So I'm not going to move us forward in time yet. I want to give you all some time to formulate your plan as a team. And we'll say that this plan will definitely be communicated to Hannah using her enchanted paper. I'm not going to call it psychic paper. But come up with your plan. You've got 9 minutes left ish in tonight's episode, and we definitely started a little late, so we can go a minute or two over if you need it. How are you thinking of achieving this? You definitely now know that the kind of rules of combat, if you will, is, for lack of a Thunderdome reference, 2 people enter, 1 person leaves. Injuries happen. Healing happens outside. The arena is enchanted, so no one can die. The only people who are allowed to enter are the official combatants. And the only magic that can be cast is magic that's cast by the people in the arena in the combat. You've also learned that each combatant starts in their own locker room with access to an armorer / weapons person and a healer. In addition to, they might invite someone to join them too. I'm fully expecting Francois to have some friends in there with him.
I have an idea, but Luke unmuted first, so Luke, go first.
Okay, well, I mean, I think I'm probably the dude that knows the most about the armor and weapons and stuff. So if no one else wants to do that, I could probably volunteer to do that.
I'm thinking, okay, he knows Zamora doesn't like him. He doesn't know that about Alaya. Alaya, you could volunteer to be his armorer and tell him the rumor as you're getting him ready that Reaper's planning on stealing the medallion. Zamora, you would volunteer to be Reaper's healer, which would make him extra suspicious of Reaper because he knows you don't like him. He wouldn't know the rumor before he came into the locker room, so he'd bring it with him, but he'd leave it in the locker room knowing that Reaper intends on stealing it.
No, what I think is, for the rumor, we spread it across the whole school. And you know who's perfect to do that? Lucius. He's got a mouth on him. You need to talk to him. You need to get him to spread this thing like wildfire.
The only thing I'm worried about is this rumor could take away Reaper's deniability if we get caught. Because then people will think Reaper's in on this.
It's legal, so I don't see any repercussions of us stealing it.
Okay, if we're okay with taking that risk.
And she didn't actually do anything wrong. Assuming the rumor doesn't get to her, which I assume it wouldn't because she's a main subject of it, then we're fine. She still knows nothing.
Okay.
Hey Luke. Didn't Francois, isn't he allowed to bring friends into the locker room? He doesn't know that you don't like him, and maybe, they could use some help in there. So maybe you're trying to buddy up with Franny?
Wait, did you say that to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Did you say Franny?
His name is literally so ugly. Don't even.
Franny, I like it.
Right. Well, I mean, that's probably easier to spell than Francois. Yeah. I think I could make friends with a 8th year. That sounds kind of scary, guys.
You're great at making friends.
It's not in the same guild as you?
Yeah, it's not in the same guild as me.
Well, he's going to be training, and aren't you always in the training room?
He doesn't really like me and my friends, but I'll try my best. I'll do my best for you guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Lee.
So we want to tell Lucius, right? Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Mr. DMD, I'm in the common room, right?
Yeah, definitely. We can go to that scene really quick if you'd like.
If everyone else is cool with that part of it.
Before we go to that scene, if I could have someone, because I'm going to write it down, summarize your plan for me.
Okay. You guys can help me fill in the gaps too. I kind of get the gist. So we will, I think step one is spreading the rumor so that there is extreme distrust of him. Spread the rumor that Reaper is going to steal the medallion while on the battlefield. So that when Franny goes on to the I don't know, the court, the field, he won't bring it with him. And hopefully Luke would be his armor or me? What do you guys
We said
think?
you'd be his armorer and Luke would be brought in as a friend.
Okay. Yeah. Luke will, buddy up with good old Franny, and he'll get in with his boys. I'll try to get in as his armorer and try to nab it off of him because I guess I'm a Medusa and I assume that only Medusas can steal it.
You'd be stealing it when he's in the arena though, right? Because he'd leave it in the locker room, hopefully.
Yeah. Either he'd leave it in the locker room or he'd be like, here, take this. I'm not taking that out there. Something like that. I think. Oh, and Zamora would also be Reaper's healer to further build distrust in that rumor. And I think that's about it. Anything else?
We hadn't discussed this yet, but what if we have Moon or Luna or someone that doesn't have a plan to get in yet? We have them waiting outside of Francois' locker room so the Laia can just hand it off really quick once he takes it. Get
That's
it out
good.
of there as soon as possible.
I could do that.
All
I
right.
could put it in a spot where Hannah could find it.
I could
Moon
not.
and
I'm tiny.
Moon would be great at hiding it somewhere.
When you know what else that you could do? You could help me put on makeup so that he doesn't know it's me in the armor as the armor. And Stevie, make sure to talk to Lucius.
Does it?
Yeah, I'll talk to Lucius, and I can probably get into Reaper's side of the locker room by telling her it's like part of my training or something.
And make sure you're just like, act like you're spreading the rumor. Don't be like, I need you to spread this because it
No,
is a rumor.
I think I can do it. I spread a lot of rumors on Tumblr.
Got
Stevie,
it.
do you have any not rumor? Do you have any healing spells?
I don't.
Okay, never mind.
Moon, do you?
I do.
I do have
One of you two, whoever doesn't run the medallion from Alaya to Hannah, can volunteer to be Reapers. Not Reapers.
Franny.
Franny's healer.
That way we can have as many of us in there as possible to level out the amount of people that he brings.
I haven't worked a lot with my healing spells, so I think Luna should do it.
And you'll wait outside to run the medallion?
I think you'd be better at hiding it, Moon.
Yeah.
Right.
So then Reaper's armorer will be left up to chance, but I think that'll be okay.
All right.
Are we ready to talk to Lucius?
I do think that's a pretty solid plan. Where did you have this conversation? Was it in the lobby of the guild hall? Did you have it outside the infirmary, in the elevator?
Elevator.
It was in the
Elevator.
elevator.
It was a long elevator conversation. You may have stopped it in the middle of the ride because it is only one floor. But you get to the bottom floor of the elevator. Everyone else is going their own direction to get to their guild halls, their beds, whatnot. And Stevie puts in the code to take the elevator down to the basement and go to the common room for the Guild of Lich. And just for the sake of storytelling, Lucius is sitting there studying, and Stevie approaches.
Hey, Lucius.
Hi. Oh, no, I think I know. You're Stephanie, right?
It's Stevie. And listen, I know you like kind of don't like me, which is fine, I guess. I don't love it, but I don't really have any other friends here, and I just heard something really huge, and I need to tell someone.
Oh. What's up?
So you know how Francois is the new guild captain, right?
I heard, yeah.
Reaper, she's pissed about it. And apparently she's planning on challenging him to arena combat and taking the medallion from him to give back to Hannah.
In like the middle of the fight?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's planning on winning the fight and taking it from him, just like he took it from Hannah when she was weak.
Does that mean that Reaper will be leader of 2 guilds?
No, she wants to give it back to Hannah, I think.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Cool.
I was outside the infirmary to go check on Hannah, and I heard them talking about all of it.
Okay, now before we wrap up, I need both of you to make a roll. I'm going to remind Stevie you still have a plot point, and I think you also have
I have inspiration, and I'm going to take it on this roll.
So the roll is this. Stevie, you need to roll either a deception check if you're planning on using this as just I'm lying to him, or if you're trying to like make it a performance, you can make a performance check like, oh, God, you will not believe this story. And then Lucius, you need to roll an insight check. It's contested, so you'll both share your rolls, please.
Dirty 20 on a performance roll.
Okay.
Give me a second. 14.
Okay. So Lucius, you buy this hook, line, and sinker. You're not sure if it's true because you're not sure, you didn't get the feeling that she was lying. What you got was she was sharing this super juicy story. And you buy the story, whether or not it's true or not, doesn't matter. It's a good story. We'll wrap up in just a second, but Lucius, tell me, what are you going to do with this story?
Well, the thing is, he's going to write it down and not talk about it about anyone. He doesn't. Okay, so the problem with your guys' plan is you assume he spreads information, but he just collects it, or I just collect it. So I'm not sure where you guys are going to go with this, but he's going to write it down and keep it in his head. And
you'll have more opportunities to spread the rumor. Maybe somebody finds Lucius's journal. Well, we will definitely come back to that next week. I got to say, this was super fun night, and we didn't get to half of what I wrote, but what you all created was just chef's kiss. So to wrap up, I'm going to scroll all the way down past like an hour's worth of stuff that we didn't get to that we will get back to, believe me, because this is good stuff. And just say that you all settle in for the evening. You go to bed knowing that you have Fridays tomorrow, Saturday is your day of training, and then this big event now happening that I had no idea was going to happen is now happening on Sunday. I got to say thank you for throwing all of my plans out the window. Like any good DM, I'm going to have to improvise. I'm going to wrap up. We got a couple of quick announcements from the cast. So I'm going to throw this over to Stevie to start us off.
So, hi guys. We wanted to announce to everyone that Argonauts Awoken now has social media. So you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And those are all being run by one or two of us. So if one of those people running one of the accounts, not including myself, wants to talk about one of them, go ahead. Feel free.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed today's little episode. Our TikTok is at Argonauts Awoken. We're gonna come out with really fun, cute little TikToks. So follow us and stay tuned for some.
Our Twitter is also at Argonauts Awoken. Both of the A's in the beginning capitalized. If that makes a difference. I don't really know a lot about Twitter, but yeah.
Yeah, our Instagram is also Argonauts Awoken. We're very consistent. Hopefully it's easy to find. There's not a ton on there yet, but we're gonna we posted some fan art, maybe some clips of the stream if you missed some parts. So yeah, you should go check it out.
Okay, and to get you guys, if you guys want to be part of this universe, we will have an NPC, NPC submission form. So if you have a character that you would like to put into the school, maybe a villain, I don't know. If you just want to put it in this universe, you can submit there's a link to the submission form in the show notes, and try to have your character idea fully fleshed out. And you won't be acting, but your character will be in the universe. So, hey, join us.
That's a
The
way
link
be
to the
part
form
of-
is not technically up yet, but it'll be up soon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a way to be part of this world. I'm creating characters left and right. I love ideas. So thanks for sharing that. One other thing that if we did love to be able to feature that fan artwork in the past. So if you do have artwork that you're doing that you want to share with us, you can drop an email to us at argonauts.awoken. That's dot is a period at gmail.com. We'll put that email address in the show notes too. So you can send that to us. Always super cool for us to see what our fans are creating. So at this point, we're wrapping up. So thank you for joining us tonight. Join us next week. And this closing I wrote is now completely irrelevant. So I'm going to make it up off the top of my head. Join us next week as our recruits show us more of our daily lives, try to spread a rumor, and probably won't get to watching arena combat, but definitely get ready for it. Thank you. And tune in next week for all of this and more on Argonauts Awoken.